GrizzNation. No retreat talk radio with businessman Morry the Grizz Taylor. Tired of a dead economy? Expect more from America? Tell it to the Grizz.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is the GrizzNation with Morry Taylor, the titular and legitimate head of this band of rabble-rousers, and we are with you this week from San Francisco.
And that's home to a real bunch of liberals, okay?
We try to catch up with the Grizz wherever he may be. Next week we'll be in Canada, I believe. This week, San Francisco. And Morry, have you been raising hell with the liberals here in San Francisco?
Well, I tell you, it's a beautiful, beautiful city. Don't anybody ever think we don't love our great golden bear out here. But, man, you know, you wonder how they have let this state just be taken over. And let me show you, we're in San Francisco. Last night, we go to a restaurant. It was probably 9:30, 10 o'clock. There was 10 of us from the Midwest. We get the bill, and you go down and look at the bill because there's 10 of us. So did they add the gratuity, the tip to it or not? And what do you think we found? We found it was healthy SF, which San Francisco mandate. So what in the hell is this 4 to 5% that they're tacking on all the bills? So great thing for the internet. That's one thing the government did right, but they're trying to get it back, which they'll screw it up. But anyhow,
They did right by staying out of the way of the internet.
what they have here is for, we assume, at least is what we've been told, restaurants who cannot pay or do not pay medical or offer the medical for their employees, then there is a tax that's put on your bill. Now, we found on the internet there's a lot of anger and frustration because it seems typical with any government program, they're charging a little extra, so I don't know if it's a Chinese mafia out here. The Italians are still here. It looks like they got to pay a little bit of juice money, Billy. So anyhow, that was our start. But without any question, it's a beautiful city.
It's like they don't think Obamacare is enough.
No, they and then to top everything off, our fearless leader, President Obama.
I heard you had to run in with him.
Yeah, we're sitting up in the air waiting 45 minutes. They got the airport closed, which happens, wherever he goes. And he came out to, get a little more leftist money to put in his little kitty as he finishes up his last 2 years for this country. And of course, so as soon as he gets out of the airport, they shut all the expressways down. It is, you kind of hope that you never have to go where he's headed. But this time we did, out here for a very close friend's wedding. And, but here we are. So we're going to start this thing off, Billy.
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is that there's a lot of debate going on about immigration and what's going on the Hill, and the House and Senate Republicans can't seem to agree. And now we see, and you probably didn't see it on CBS or NBC, but if you thanks once again to the internet, that the new statistics reveal there's two new immigrants for every job that's been created in this country since 2000.
It's a shame. Last week we talked about the illegal immigrants, the amount of them that have been allowed to come in. But what came out, as Bill just mentioned, about the internet, it's kind of like no publicity, but since our President Obama's been in office, he's allowed 5.5 million illegal immigrants get working permits. Now, they found out that since 2000, we've got a total 18 million, this is legal and illegal immigrants, which you turn around and if you look, only 9.3 million jobs, folks. That's 2 immigrants for every job that's been created. Now, with unemployment we got, you have to say to yourself, what's going on? I understand high-tech permits, especially out in California here, but it's all over the state, even in the state of Texas. But there is nothing. Job growth has not even come close to the amount of immigrants coming into this country. And, you know, there's the Labor Department knows there's long-term unemployment effects to our current, let's just call our fellow Americans. So, you know, what's going to happen to the workers? This is our land. You can't keep forcing it down and adding more. Well, since 2000, December of 2000, the rate of labor participation was 77%. Now, remember, this is native-born Americans. This is not the immigrants. But December of 2014, folks, we're down to 72%. Now, that's lower than before the recession. So when all of you out there that want to have the president is doing his job, you know, what's he doing out here fundraising? What has he done? It's a fundraising campaigning. I mean, he does that great. But, you know, we need jobs. We need jobs. And you've got to stop this illegal immigration. You got to reduce the legal amount that you're bringing in that are not in some high skills. We got to balance this out. Last year, when the Senate approved the doubling of the legal immigration rules, you know, we've done enough. Let's get the you know, nothing creates betterness in this country if we have jobs and good paying jobs. And we better figure out how the hell to do it. And I appreciate that out here in Liberland, the liberals of all, they just want to raise taxes. That's not going to happen, folks. You'll never get there. So the only way to get out of this sluggish economy is jobs. And if you keep letting the illegals in and you try to create jobs, you're just going to drag everything down. It's just like open borders and trade. It's nuts, totally nuts. The bad thing about it, politicians don't have a clue.
What do you think about the internecine battle going on between the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans, and how to deal with Obama's proclamation on immigration?
Well, I think what happens, you know, for our audience, the Republican Congress approved a bill that would not let the amnesty go on this next 5 million people. And it's over at the Senate. But, you know, the problems at the Senate is the Republican Majority Leader, O'Connell, and then you got Alexander. You got a whole mess of them. And with the Democrats turned around with a nuke option and just stuck it down their throats.
They want to play fair now.
They want to play fair. You know, that's so stupid, folks. That's like, oh my gosh, we captured the terrorists, and you know, we have his gun. Now we're going to talk to him, and then he needs his gun to go back to protect himself. Now, first thing if you give him back his gun, it's got a bullet in it, he's going to shoot you. okay? Now, there's some of you out there who don't believe this, but that's what I believe. And so why? Why, when this is so strong, are we worried about going back at the Senate to how it used to be after the Democrats threw that out the window? It's stupid, folks. So let them know. Get the emails out, everything else. Don't just sit home and just shake your head. Send them emails. Call them up.
The two biggest avalanches of phone calls and emails in the history of the Capitol have been on the immigration issue, and people, the politicians don't seem to understand that that people are getting upset about that.
Well, the reason politicians have so much trouble in Washington is because there's 40,000 lobbyists. Think about that, folks. It's like 10 of them for every one of them. More than that. It'd be 100. There's 100 of them. So you got to turn around and use the things that you have at your disposal. You have to be proactive. Tell them what you believe. And you don't have to be real nicey. You don't have to be threatening, but you can tell them you're never going to vote for them. You can tell them you're going to campaign against them. That'll get them going.
All right, let's. We do welcome your phone calls and emails. Phone calls at the GrizzNation. Call 855-984-7499. That's 855-984-7499. The next topic we want to bring up. We're only going to be able to talk a little bit. We're going ready to go to break, but we can start it now. Is another aspect of this immigration issue that onslaught of new applications are now coming in. And what does that mean? That means because of the Obama amnesty, and that means bigger bureaucracy, more spending, more money.
It's crazy, Bill. It's crazy. The federal government has determined that they're going to need a lot more money. They're going to have upwards to increase their budget. This program is going to cost between $350 and $400 plus almost $500 million bucks. They're going to need to bring new employees. Maybe this is what the president thought about.
Jobs,
yeah. He's creating them in the federal government, but he does not understand where that money comes from. And in his thought, he's just going to run a printing press. Now, what we got is the first 2.5 months, they're going to get 800,000 applicants. And that's like a 70% surge what they would take in the agencies for a whole year. They're going to get that in 2 months. So they need to get another 250 contract employees.
Just to open the mail.
That's
just to open the mail.
Open the mail and enter them into the farm. Yeah. I mean, this is so stupid. But remember, while they're doing all this, the Border Patrol has to hire more people to explain to the illegals what benefits they can get once they have their paperwork done. I mean, this is just crazy. And then you turn around, so they're going to need extra 1,000 people. They're going to, for these centers, they're going to put around the country, and they're going to be able to take these illegals and they're going to explain to them how they can turn around and fill paperwork out, and they'll be granted amnesty. Now, when you look at all of this and what's going to happen, they got some fees they got to collect. But
we're going to have to bring that up. There's more to talk about this. It's an astounding fact. But we're getting ready to go for a break. And remember, we want your phone calls at 855-984-7499. That's 855-984-7499. And we'll be back in just a minute with more of El Grizzo.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mark Andel, owner of the Made in America store. Together, we can help grow our economy and create jobs for Americans by buying products made right here in the United States. Visit MadeInAmericaStore.com, featuring thousands of 100% American-made products from all American materials and labor. They are the highest quality products available. We've inspired a Buy American movement that is creating and saving American jobs every day and keeping our money here instead of sending it overseas. So are you tired of lip service? Let our government know what really matters to the American people. Creating jobs matters. Manufacturing matters. Made in America matters. After 4 years in business and countless jobs created through our 400-plus suppliers, we've built a simple working model to strengthen our economy. It's a proving fact. Made in America matters because China is a long drive to work. Shop online at MadeInAmericaStore.com or connect with us on Facebook.
In addition to offering up his weekly dose of good old Grizz sense, Morry the Grizz Taylor doubles as CEO of Titan Tire, the world's largest farm tire manufacturer, producers of Goodyear and Titan farm tires. Morry wants all you farmers in GrizzNation to listen up. If you need to get into your field and it's all too wet, call 1-800-USA-BEAR or your Deere or Case IH dealer. Titan Tire is bringing new technology to farmers, and Titan's low sidewall technology means no more power hop or road low and less compaction. Say goodbye to the beach balls and same old tires from 20 to 30 years ago. It's time to welcome Goodyear LSW to your fields. Call your dealer or 1-800-USA-BEAR today to find out how you can save money and time this harvest. And tell them the Grizz sent you.
Uh-oh. GrizzNation is back. Now nobody in Washington is safe. Dial 855-98-GRIZZ to join the conversation. Now here's Morry Taylor, the Grizz.
Welcome back, everybody. We were talking about this new bureau, the Homeland Security, which is where the Immigration Bureau is, and what they got to do with all these immigrants that want to get amnesty and everything. Well, the real fight right now, folks, is that the Republicans have passed in the House, sent it to the Senate. There's enough Republicans in the Senate to pass this bill and send it on to the president. This is the Homeland Security. They're funding everything, but they took out the money to start hiring all these people to take the applications, give this amnesty, which, because we're short on jobs, this is really kind of stupid. This is just dumb and dumbest, all right? Now, you got to turn around and call your senators. And whether they're Democrat, Republican, who cares right at this point? But you just tell them, hang tough. You don't want it. You do not want to fund the Homeland Security. Now, you're going to listen to all the media. Oh, you're going to shut everything down. Everything's going to be shut. We won't be able to do anything. Hell, they're not doing much anyhow, folks. Not with Obama.
Well, you know, it's funny that everyone said that the last government shutdown was a disaster for Republicans. Then a year later, Republicans had an historic election victory.
Yeah, I mean, I think majority of Americans would just love to see the government shut down for, a few months.
Well, there is a PR problem.
The problem that you have, there's a PR problem.
It's not really
because they're so idiotic. What do? They shut them down. They go home for a month, and then they don't lose no money. Government workers don't lose no money. They're paid. All right? So what the hell? Let them live a few of the hardships, and maybe they'll get some things straightened out and being right. I mean, this is not just a federal, because we're in California right now. This is this state, which is so, I mean, they spend money like they're just a little bit wacko. It's like they got little shorts in them. And what's happened, think about this. Here you are in a state that just keeps adding more government work, just keeps growing. I mean, you got cities that are going bankrupt, and You got to keep paying everything. Well, I was born in Detroit, folks. Detroit's come out of the bankruptcy. Now, Detroit is actually moving pretty good. But you see, cities can go bankrupt. States are not allowed. So think about that, folks. And you better think, too, in this state here, here's how wacko. You read your papers, you got a drought. You've had a drought. They've got people studying it. This thing could go on for a long time. But what happens when you had all the rain? It's in your papers today up here in Frisco. What happened is they asked to be able to take the surplus water that was flooding, rushing out to the ocean, turn the pumps on, and fill up your reserves. But no. You see, you got a couple smelt, a couple weird little chubbies in your water. And so they applied to your group. I think the guy running it's a Mr. Howard. If I missed his name, I'm sorry. But anyhow, he's still dumb. Because what did he do? He wouldn't let him turn the pumps on and save the water. Because somebody wrote him a letter from some, save the little fishies, and the pumps might suck up one or two of them. That water all went back out into the ocean. Now, this is nuts. This is not, it's so crazy. You should fire all those people. They shouldn't even be able to touch anything that has anything to do with a government agency. Go look, drive through it. They don't want to show you on TV all the farms that are gone, all the water for a couple chubs. This is just totally insane. In fact, I really wonder who gives these people money. You'll be surprised how many of them get their money from your government. They ain't using their own money. So check it out.
Money. Yeah, well, speaking of the federal government, we hear a lot about the problems with Social Security and a lot about Medicare, but another sort of hidden problem is this dramatic, huge increase in disability payments, and Obama seems to be taking that another step further.
Well, the Republican Senate pleaded with Obama this week to do something about Social Security disability program. And that's his latest budget that just kicks the can down the road. Obama, he proposes to shift $330 billion out of the program's trust fund to go avert into the disability. Now, for all of you on Social Security that are on the retirement side, let's explain what your president is doing. You see, Social Security was set up for your retirement. Well, then they've brought all these other things because there was so much money in it. Now they're getting a little bit worried about what's going to happen. Well, because they had such during the recession, and it's rampant with fraud. All you have to do is watch 60 Minutes did a whole job on it. So now you've got all of this Social Security disability. That's what we're talking about. And this thing's going really, really exponentially up. So what are they doing? He don't want to do nothing with it. He doesn't want to do it. He just wants to give stuff away. So he's going over to your account, the trust fund, for all you retirees, and he's going to pop out $330 billion of it. Your money. And then what do you think's going to happen? Look at history, folks. You're going to get cut because he ain't got the guts. Then you turn around and nobody thinks this thing is not out of control. It is. You turn around and look, and they're shifting office jobs, you're increasing your corporate safety records. All these things have improved. Everything has improved. All right? We don't have all the manufacturing. Huh?
And yet it's exploding.
Yeah, it's exploding because it's doubled. It's doubled in the last 20 years. Now, wait a minute. How are you getting all these, unless it's government workers or people that are watching porno 6 hours, get themselves so wound up they can't walk? I mean, I don't know. But $140 billion was spent on this program in 2013. That's twice of 10 years ago. Now, originally when they came up with Social Security disability, that was people who basically couldn't work. Generally,
serious injuries, yeah.
Yeah, an injury or something, but not anymore. And then between 50 and 59, 1 out of 23 received the benefits. But today, it's 1 in 12. Now, you got to have some suspicion, folks. 1 in 12 from 1 in 23, that's double. That tells you, I understand, but people can game the system, and they're gaming it, okay? So the Senate Republicans have drafted a bill, and they're doing it now, to reduce the time they can receive it, the disabilities between that and unemployment. Because a lot of the people are getting through when their unemployment runs out. So we've got to, and that's not right. It's not why it was set there, okay? So we got to get the thing. But meanwhile, your president going to take $330 billion out of your account and go around and give it to some other. You can't keep doing this. And, we can go to that right to the West Coast. You're out here, we're on the West Coast. Tell the nation that our ports have been slowing down. Okay?
Yeah, you don't hear about this story much.
No, you don't hear about it. You don't hear about it because the unions have turned around and stroked this thing. Actually, it's across the whole nation. They kind of like all got together. You don't hear a lot of them out because, the newspapers, they don't want to say nothing. It involves 29 ports. And, we want to blame the union, the International Longshore and Warehouse Union. I really don't think so. Because, they got the monopoly. So these ports turned around and they kind of got together and they got the monopoly. So guess what? The average full-time worker, he makes an average $142,000. That's the pay. That's not the benefits. If you put the benefits with it, you got to add another $82,000.
That's almost $250,000 for
an employee. And folks, remember, you're paying for it, okay? And then the clerks that put more than 50 hours a week in, they earn more than $200,000. The only thing I can say, they're a better value than what you're getting out of your politicians. And they're worth a hell of a lot more than anything out here in politicians in California. But if you want to be a foreman, you want to walk around, you get about $300,000. Oh, don't forget, 1.5% is knocked out of those checks. That goes to the union. So I got to ask them where the good restaurants are, because the one we found last night wasn't any good.
Well, and the employers are in the same boat. They've formed their own monopoly.
Yeah, this is both. So, you got two monopolies. You got one, they don't care, they're going to pay. And what do you have a fight now? One wants more money. Uh-oh. We're hearing a little music in the background. That means they want to have a little break. But listen, folks, we're not through with this one yet. We got a lot more, and give us a call. What's the number, Billy?
855-984-7499. Please call. We enjoy those calls and your internet email messages. 855-984-7499.
Hi, I'm Mark Andel, owner of the Made in America store. Together, we can help grow our economy and create jobs for Americans by buying products made right here in the United States. Visit MadeInAmericaStore.com, featuring thousands of 100% American-made products from all American materials and labor. They are the highest quality products available. We've inspired a Buy American movement that is creating and saving American jobs every day and keeping our money here instead of sending it overseas. So are you tired of lip service? Let our government know what really matters to the American people. Creating jobs matters. Manufacturing matters. Made in America matters. After 4 years in business and countless jobs created through our 400-plus suppliers, we've built a simple working model to strengthen our economy. It's a proving fact. Made in America matters because China is a long drive to work. Shop online at MadeInAmericaStore.com or connect with us on Facebook.
My daughter starts elementary school this year. I'm amazed how fast she's grown. Being ready for school means more than just knowing ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. It's social and emotional development, too. That's why she spent her early years at Primrose Schools. Primrose parents rate their children above 90% in school readiness. With her Primrose Foundation, my baby is ready to succeed. To see what other moms are saying, visit askaprimrosemom.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Welcome back to GrizzNation. Think it's bad now? You ain't seen nothing yet. Just dial 855-98-GRIZZ to ask the Grizz.
All right, we're back again. We're talking about the ports, the strike that's on, and how it's going to affect the price you pay for everything. And it's not just the internet stuff you can buy from Amazon. It'll be the walk-in shopping centers. Everything's going up.
But 40% of our trade comes through these ports.
That's correct. And I'm going to talk about trade because they're going to go off and they just can't get it through their head what you have to have for creating jobs is not bringing more and more countries, allow them just to have your market. Now, what we got to do with these 29 ports, first thing is their association, you're just asking for not only one monopoly, you're asking for two because you have the union on the other side. So you gotta break this up. And you should actually have different unions at different ports. And they shouldn't be associated so they can get together, because stop and think. Think of the United Auto Workers, GM, Chrysler, and Ford. Now,
They used to handle their business similar to the ports, right?
They did the same thing. Okay, we're going to take Chrysler and we're going to close you up. And so they would strike them and the other guys, and you're right. They really don't care about the workers. This has to do with their dues. So they'll shove the other. Well, what really happens, folks? Number one, it turns around and you don't get the benefit for what? So there shouldn't be, and you can't let automotive, you couldn't let Ford, Chrysler, and GM join up. Oh, we got laws against that. Same with the union. Steelworkers should have been over at GM. Chrysler could have been Teamsters. Let the UAW stay with Ford. Now stop and think about it. Steelworkers don't want to lose that due money. Neither does the Teamsters, and neither does the UAW. So you get the benefit. And remember, it cost the taxpayers in the end, it cost us $16.9 billion. Yeah, it wasn't the great thing of saving automotive. Now, what do we got to do here? We break them up the same way. You don't have a monopoly.
Well, it's interesting how Reagan dealt with the air traffic controllers versus Obama whistling past the well, actually, Obama probably is encouraging this kind of activity.
Well, yeah, because where does the dues go? I mean, let's be honest. The money goes to the Democratic Party, folks. And I'm, you listen to some of the things they're preaching, you have to almost say, are they against America? I mean, it gets to be a little bit crazy. Now, the other thing is, you were talking about President Reagan. Everybody should remember this. It was President Reagan who saved Harley-Davidson. Talked about this before. You can't just turn around and open your market to everybody. Also back then, you had imports of cars flooding into America. People forget about that. And then it was Reagan who put a cap. Wasn't a duty, put a cap. You can send so many cars, that's it. They were coming from Japan. Because you can't really go over to Japan. It's against the law. Open up a car company in Japan. Now, think about this. I was in Turkey. In Turkey, Ford makes cars there. The Fiat, there's a lot of car companies make cars. BMW does not. You're wealthy and you want a $100,000 BMW? Fine, you can have it. They just charge you $100,000 duty. So you step up, you pay. Well,
we have a lot of car plants now in North Carolina or South Carolina and Alabama and Tennessee.
And all of those are because of Reagan.
Yes.
And they're all non-union, and they all pay high wages, and everybody wants them.
Yep.
But I'd like to ask everybody, except for the Tesla, is that what you call that electric? Tesla? All right. I think that's the only one you got left in California.
Well, that's only because of the subsidies, yeah. You're talking about a ripoff.
And that's the old Lumi plant over here in by Oakland. And that was the great move, great move between Toyota and GM. And they set it up and with the UAW. Smartest thing GM was they ran out of it, okay? And then Toyota, they got out. So
that's a factor that Tesla's in now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's the newly. So you got to understand, you got to have some competition, and you got to understand what in the hell's going on. And it's quite obvious, our country, we got to get something going. Now in California here, just sitting up there in San Jose here, you are the mecca of technology. But do you think you would be there if you guys were all unionized? Think about that. Think about that. Think about what happened.
A lot of them support the Democrats, but they don't want.
They support all the Democrats.
Nor do they want regulation.
They just talk to you.
Yeah.
Talk's cheap, folks. That's what he said last week. Democrats can talk. They've never done the friggin' walk. They've never created the jobs. They create government. Now, maybe in the high-tech side, but wasn't the out of Obamacare that they gave the contract to do the launch, that was from some Canadians, right?
Yeah.
And it never worked.
Yep.
Why the hell did you guys in here in California get it for them? But anyhow, enough of that.
More, we do have a caller. It's something we're going to talk about a little later, but no sense in not talking about it now. But the Keystone Pipeline activity that's going on. We've got Amber from Denver. Amber, you there?
Yes.
Hi, Amber. What's your question, dear?
Hi. My question is, do you think the Republicans in the House and the Senate will be able to override a Keystone veto? And if not, does that mean the project's going nowhere?
Well, the first thing is that I think the House would have a chance to override the presidential veto. In the Senate, they would get really close, but I believe they would still be short. But as I just stated a moment ago about our friends, the Democrats, Democrats can out-talk the Republicans 10-1 all the time. They switch. It makes no difference if they're lying through their teeth. They just bark. They never do the walk. They don't create jobs unless they're in the government, and they just want to raise taxes. But what it will do is normally the media would carry it, but I do believe that when the president signs that, and signs a veto, if he does, then I think that will pretty well, with some other things that are going to happen, the Americans might wake up. And
I would think his union supporters would not be too happy about that. His union supporters.
No, but his union supporters, if you stop and think about it, this is not just a Obama situation. You got to go back to President Clinton. Everybody thinks he created all these jobs. You have to understand, folks, especially out here in California, you turn around and think back to when it was President Clinton who gave favored nation to China. Folks, what that meant in the trade deal with China, our borders are open. You can bring anything in here. But we couldn't ship everything, only what China needed and wanted to improve their country. Look at your steel companies. It's in the paper today. So what happens is when they do that, if you're paying back in the 90s, if you were making $10, $12 in a factory job, and you can go for 25 cents to China, all these Fortune 500 companies, they go there. Your Apple phones. Now, granted, they're trying to make some down that build a $2 billion plant. Go look at what's being paid. Go look at how many employees are really there.
Right.
They put the money in automation, but there's reasons why they put it there.
You're the CEO of a large publicly traded company, and so you must pal around from time to time with your fellow CEOs, but I would think you would get some flack for this position.
Hell, when we...
Because usually the corporate chieftains are generally expand free trade.
Well, there's a difference. There's a total difference in being... Everybody has to understand there's a difference between private and public companies. Mm-hmm. We were a private company, and the factories were closed by public companies. All right? So when you turn around, and we bought closed factories, in order to keep trying to grow, we went public. Now, our margins and the money that we make is very, very... If we do folks, if we do $1 in sales, we're lucky if we make 1.5 cents. Now, when you look at Microsoft, you look at all, Oracle, everybody else, they're up around anywhere from 70 to 82 cents. They sell $1, that's what they make. So you can do a lot of things if you got all that extra cash, you see. And so they got a chance.
I want to explore that some more, though. But you're definitely not in the typical position of a big company CEO on that. But we'll talk about that when we get back. We want to hear from you as well. Please give us a call at 855-984-7499, 855-98-GRIZZ. We'll be back in a minute, folks. Thanks.
And
In addition to offering up his weekly dose of good old Grizz sense, Morry the Grizz Taylor doubles as CEO of Titan Tire, the world's largest farm tire manufacturer, producers of Goodyear and Titan farm tires. Morry wants all you farmers in GrizzNation to listen up. If you need to get into your field and it's all too wet, call 1-800-USA-BEAR or your Deere or Case IH dealer. Titan Tire is bringing new technology to farmers, and Titan's low sidewall technology means no more power hop or road low and less compaction. Say goodbye to the beach balls and same old tires from 20 to 30 years ago. It's time to welcome Goodyear LSW to your fields. Call your dealer or 1-800-USA-BEAR today to find out how you can save money and time this harvest. And tell them the Grizz sent you.
Hi, I'm Mark Andel, owner of the Made in America store. Together, we can help grow our economy and create jobs for Americans by buying products made right here in the United States. Visit MadeInAmericaStore.com, featuring thousands of 100% American-made products from all American materials and labor. They are the highest quality products available. We've inspired a Buy American movement that is creating and saving American jobs every day and keeping our money here instead of sending it overseas. So are you tired of lip service? Let our government know what really matters to the American people. Creating jobs matters. Manufacturing matters. Made in America matters. After 4 years in business and countless jobs created through our 400-plus suppliers, we've built a simple working model to strengthen our economy. It's a proving fact. Made in America matters because China is a long drive to work. Shop online at MadeInAmericaStore.com or connect with us on Facebook.
Welcome back to GrizzNation. Scrape that Washington off your shoes, pull up a chair, and dial 855-98-GRIZZ to join the conversation with the Grizz.
We had a little technical difficulty there. Sorry about that. Now we're back with you. We do want to encourage those calls, whether you agree with Morry or not. Please let us know. And I will tell you, we just got to show you we're open. We enjoy. If you don't agree with Morry, we like those calls better. You know, we're here to discuss everything. And you've got Landon on Twitter says that. After Republicans sat on their butts for 8 years screwing up the country, you dare spew such nonsense. I don't think you have a fan there with Landon.
Well, okay, what was his name?
Landon.
Landon. All right, Landon. I won't say that they just laid on their butts. I think what happened is it was the first time that they got there, and let's just say the lobbyist won them over. And we blew them out. And what the hell did you get now? All right? So, you're right. They didn't do it for 8 years. They did a few good things. They did a bunch of dumb things. George Bush, well, hell, I'll just say, you go all the way back to Reagan. After Reagan, did anybody cut the government? No, government's so much bigger, okay? Did the two wars, I was never in for, and I think it was a big mistake to sit there and want to just run around and try to be nation building and everything else. I'm a strong believer, let's take care of our own first. And so what you have, and it started with the Clintons, is no, we have too much. We in America have too much. This is what the politicians start thinking. And remember, when Hillary went out, she just told you her $8 million she got right before they left, they were broke. Yeah, well, that's broke in her terms compared to some of her other big donors. She probably be telling you the truth. But the problem is, we got to take care of our own. Nobody gets more mad than than I see people going over and XYZ company or country. They're going to build schools. They're going to help them. Well, why the hell ain't we doing it in our own damn country? You know, we got to do for our own. We're the ones that go shed the blood, you know, and it's a bunch of BS. And that's the way I look at it. And
well, we've got a call back on the previous topic we're talking about on the immigration. We've got Dave from New York. Dave, are you there?
Hi, David. You there, Dave?
Hello, Dave.
Mexico is a lot tougher on immigration.
But I'm sorry, Dave. Dave, you cut out there. Dave, would you start your question over? You cut out there for a minute.
Okay. I understand that Mexico is a lot tougher on immigration than America. I was just wondering, why don't we have a system where our immigration is as tough as where the people are immigrating from?
Well, I don't have a problem. The big problem we have.
Well, that is, how do you describe it? I mean, it's a lot tougher to get into Mexico than it is here.
Oh, so. It is. And the problem we have is a real problem in politics, okay? The way you've got is you got the federal government, even by our Constitution, is the one supposed to take care of it, and they're not doing it. They didn't do it when Bush was elected. Reagan, I think, made a little bit of a slip up too. So what's happened is when you go into Washington, you got so many lobbyists in there, they just let it go. And but I agree with you. We got to get it close the borders. You got to close the borders and then just start it.
But don't you think it's hypocritical of Mexico to put so much pressure on this country and to set up in their consulates methods to facilitate illegal immigration into this country?
Why blame the friggin' Mexicans because they know that we're stupid? Okay, I mean Goober told you he worked for he set your Medicare. If we're all going to be out there stupid, then we deserve to be called stupid. And what you got to do,
I don't think the American people are.
You got to get off your rear ends. You got to get involved. It's like when you walk through some of my factories, and the people will tell you, this is hourly people. You got salary people. They don't want to take the time because they don't think that their vote matters. It's all being rigged. Well, you know, I'm for one. That to tell, and I've told this before, folks, I believe everybody should vote. Period. And if you don't vote, I'm going to fine you. I've told that to a lot of people. Hell, you get fined if you don't pay your taxes. So I would say fine. I'd tie it to the amount of your income so that if you didn't vote, because there's so many, you can vote, you can get absentee ballots. There's so many things we can do. But there's more common sense of the hourly workforce in my plant than there is in Washington, D.C., and there's more in there when it comes to common sense than the whole faculty lounge of any university. That is the fact. And someone said, how is it a fact? Because I've met all of them, all right? And by God, and plus, folks, who are the ones that
got us?
Who are the ones that go fight our wars? Who are your policemen coming from? Who are your firefighters?
They're not coming from Harvard?
They're not coming. No, there might be one or two that got lost, but God bless him. But you're right in reference to what we got to do to vote. You got to get out and vote, and you got to make it so that people vote. Do you know if a company turns around and gives you the time off to vote, but you have to vote, that's illegal?
You tried that, didn't you?
Yeah, I tried that.
What happened?
$10,000 fine.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, for each person, not just one fine.
If you offered your employees, you didn't say what to do, just go vote for everyone.
You got to go
vote.
vote.
You want to vote for them.
And you bring back a receipt. The time you're off during the day to go vote, you got paid for it. But if you didn't have a receipt, you weren't getting paid, okay? Well, that's...
You didn't ask them to come back and tell them who they voted for, just that they voted.
Well, yeah, you get a receipt
Right.
that
Okay.
you said you
Yeah.
vote. It's in the courthouse.
But that you got a fine for that, or you got the threat of a fine.
I got a threat, $10,000. It's on the books. Politicians don't want you to vote. You see them all stand up there. They don't want you to vote, especially if you might vote against them. And they figure the mass. You know, I don't think President Clinton ever got I don't think he ever got 49% of the people who voted. I don't think
right.
so.
Yeah. No, he didn't.
And what?
No.
You didn't even have 50% of the people.
Yeah.
So he was elected with 24% of the people.
Yep.
It's crazy. Hey, our country, it's worth fighting for, folks. And we gotta get it going again. And you know, it's like, in fact, they'll give it to you free. See this little book here? This is the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. You read, this is a little teeny book. That's it. You know, you got 2,000 pages for a lousy bill for just for Obamacare or what, affordable health care. But if you go through this book and you look, the Declaration of Independence, there you look, and there's the list of the men. When those men signed the Declaration of Independence, they signed a death warrant on them, their families, all their money, anything. They compensated by the Brits. That's what, and here, I'll read you something. It says in there, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Let me tell you, look in Washington, look at your great leadership that you elect, or, they get in. Think about that, all right?
Well, we want to hear from you, 855-984-7499, 855-984-GRIZZ, 98GRIZZ, excuse me.
Hey, did you hear the Gallup poll on our illustrious president?
I was going to ask you about that right now.
Yeah, you're a little slow in getting the number out there. Anyhow, folks, Obama's approval made reference, is he a polarizing? Remember in Denver, the columns, you're going to big, the new, this is it, folks. Messiah is here. This is the all the elitists, all the newspaper. The columnist said it was this guy got all excited. Was he from San Francisco? He was running the columnists out there. That's what he said. Be careful.
Remember that 13% of Republicans have a favorable opinion about Obama.
And that's in the 80% Democrats.
Well, yeah, there's always going to be more partisan for that, but there's never in the history of been that kind of a gap. Never.
You think about it. The first thing is the president. I appreciate the fact that he can really read a teleprompter, okay? And he stays on message. No matter how much he's lying to you, no matter what he knows, he smiles, he stays on message. He is a great actor. Out here, Hollywood should come up. His new job for him and Michelle, when they leave the White House, is pure acting. At least you know they're actors. So, because it's not good the other way. Sorry to tell him. And he he picks all these people. And, he's so smart. Well, I put out on one of my tweets, the media has told us how smart Obama is. Folks, he gave to Congress a $4 trillion budget. That's from a smart person? That is friggin' insane, okay? And I'm going to tell you what's wrong and why nobody else wants to say it, He can't even call a terrorist, All
We
right.
can do that here. We can talk straight, because that's why with the GrizzNation. We're going to come back when we come back with the Grizz growls, what's really got Morry teed off. Give us a call at 855-984-7499.
Way through our...
Hi, I'm Mark Andel, owner of the Made in America store. Together, we can help grow our economy and create jobs for Americans by buying products made right here in the United States. Visit MadeInAmericaStore.com, featuring thousands of 100% American-made products from all American materials and labor. They are the highest quality products available. We've inspired a Buy American movement that is creating and saving American jobs every day and keeping our money here instead of sending it overseas. So are you tired of lip service? Let our government know what really matters to the American people. Creating jobs matters. Manufacturing matters. Made in America matters. After 4 years in business and countless jobs created through our 400-plus suppliers, we've built a simple working model to strengthen our economy. It's a proving fact. Made in America matters because China is a long drive to work. Shop online at MadeInAmericaStore.com or connect with us on Facebook.
Imagine a huge stadium filled to capacity and you're on the field with a microphone.
With an important, life-changing message.
But only 60 seconds to announce it. What would you say? If you want people to listen and take action, you need a message that's well thought out, attention-getting, and convincing. That's where Radioactive Media comes in. We're the experts in harnessing the strengths of radio advertising to craft a powerful message for your business. We create hard-hitting, profitable campaigns that air on the top local and national radio programs, reaching potentially millions of new customers. Whether you're a Fortune 500 company with a weekly budget of hundreds of thousands of dollars or a well-funded and financed new startup with a budget as low as $8,000 a week, we can help. Give us a call for a free marketing analysis at 800-559-RADIO. Radio is one of the most cost-effective means to reaching your customers. Call 800-559-RADIO. That's 800-559-RADIO. 800-559-7234. Or on the web at radioactivemedia.net.
Soon this little baby I'm singing to sleep will start to walk. Before I know it, I'll be dropping her off at school, beaming when she walks up to accept her diploma, or holding back tears as she takes those big steps down the aisle. But before she takes all those steps, she and thousands like her will need you to take yours. Join March for Babies to help make her steps possible. Start your team today at marchforbabies.org.
More than half of U.S. children and adults have never received music education, although 68% think it's important, according to a new poll commissioned by Primrose Schools. Early, consistent exposure to music has been found to support musical ability, language development, motor coordination, social skills, and learning. Visit justaskaprimrosemom.com to hear what moms are saying about Primrose Schools' new partnership with the Music Class, an international early childhood music education company.
And now, the Lens of Liberty. Here's Helen Kriebel.
The real strength of America is our unity. The motto, E pluribus unum, is on all our currency and coins, and it means from the many, one. America is not just a place, it's an idea. The idea that ordinary people can govern themselves. Americans are a diverse people, but we are united because we believe in the principles of individual freedom, personal responsibility, and free enterprise. We should guard our freedoms jealously and examine all government proposals through the lens of liberty, always asking, will this make us more free or less free? When we don't, we saddle ourselves with so many taxes, laws, rules, and regulations that we lose something of utmost importance, our freedom.
The Lens of Liberty is brought to you by the Vernon K. Kriebel Foundation.
You're on with GrizzNation with CEO Morry the Grizz Taylor. Talk radio heavy on America and no bull. Forget the politicians. Here's the Grizz.
Welcome back for the second hour of GrizzNation with Morry the Grizz Taylor. Please give us your phone calls. That's 855-984-7499, and keep up those tweets. We've got a couple of tweets pending, but at the beginning of our second hour, we like to go into a feature that we call the Grizz Growls, and You know what that is? Morty likes to talk about anything, but these are the things that really kind of tick him off. What's got you ticked off this week, Morty?
All right, Bill. First thing, before we get into the growls, I want people to understand, we had Kim last couple of weeks, and Bill's been on before, but for you who just tune in and don't know, Bill and I go back about 20 years to the 96 campaign where I decided to run for president. And him and another character that, we haven't got, he's in California, but he actually runs around with all the liberals down in by Hollywood. He's not here, his name's Fred Davis. But he works for Strategic Perception, and he had this last election, they teamed up to have 14 wins, right?
Yes, sir. 14 of 14.
All right. Now, let's get back to the Grizz growls, okay? The first one is food stamp fraud is a snap. Folks, this stuff is true. It just blows your mind. The government estimates cheating is almost $1 billion in food stamp fraud. $1 billion. The food program is known as SNAP. Apparently, it's living up to its name, SNAP, to defraud the federal government. The figure came to life this week as the Republicans are trying to cut down on fraud by basically requiring you to have a photo ID, to go spend your benefits, which are loaded, on their food stamp card. Guess what? Want to talk about my friends the Democrat? Just like the voting laws, the liberals immediately cried, ID requirement will hinder minorities' ability to get the subsidy. Come on, folks. They'll get the ID, and it's a small price, getting free benefits, But I tell the Republicans, pass it. Just pass it. Send it to the president. And if he don't want it, tell him, okay, don't sign it. And then hold the money. You'll get a signature real quick. The second one, you can buy pot with your EBT card. That's something we learned this week, folks. Do you know welfare recipients can use their EBT, that's Electronic Benefits Transfer Card, at AT&T ATMs to obtain the cash?
That's a deal.
I thought that they were only supposed to be able to use these cards at a grocery store to buy food.
I would have thought that.
Mm-hmm. But it came to attention. We love you, Colorado. We love you, But Colorado Republicans are trying to ban the use of the EBT cards at ATM machines located in marijuana shops. Hey, I got to give these pot boys out in Colorado, they're a few entrepreneurs. If we got cameras all over, why don't you take a picture of the people if they come in with their EBT card? Because we got to stop the fraud. We know there's fraud. Well, the ATMs in the shops, and what you do, you take your EBT card, pop it in there, get your money, withdraw some cash, buy your dope, and away you go. It's absurd. Here's the absurd. Colorado, we're back to our friends the Democrats. They want to block any attempt to ban this practice. Now, Democrats, have you ever figured out eventually everything goes broke? It's no friggin' different than how the commies went broke, how every socialist government goes broke. You shouldn't be Democrats. There's some, in the old days, there were some real good Democrats. You guys should all just say, we're starting a new socialist party.
Why do they have a system where you can get money for anything? I mean, it seems like it should be for food.
Yeah, one time they had it, you couldn't buy booze with it, you see?
Right.
Then somebody said that the beer and wine out here in California.
That's really not even food stamps anymore.
But it's outrageous, okay? So Republicans, Colorado, do your job. You know, just bang it through. The third one we got, 46 million people are on food stamps for at least 39 months.
For the last,
And our president says,
He said, I thought
we're coming up, folks, we're coming up, you know. You have to wonder, you know, we're over 46 million for the last 39 months, straight months. The last time it dropped below 49 was in September of 2011. That's 22.7 million households. Remember when I talked about all this trade? We talked about everything. It leads back to the same thing. Jobs, folks. You get jobs, you don't have this problem. We got to get everybody back to work because the population on food stamps, Americans, is greater than Colombia, Kenya, Ukraine, or Argentina.
We got more people getting food stamps in America than in all of Argentina.
All of it, you know. I mean, it is really, it just makes you sick. I believe if you really want to, know and have belief in this country and what we can do, you seen the story about the guy who, his car broke down in Detroit, so he'd ride public transportation, he'd walk miles.
Oh, that was an incredible story.
And he turned around and
like 20 miles each way or something.
It came out, there was a story about it.
Yeah, I read about it in
but
Texas.
He was never late for work.
Yeah.
He didn't miss work. What was his job? I think his job was like $11 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But he lived and did that. Mm-hmm. That man had a conscience. That's what America was. And guess what? It was a 19-year-old little techie who went on the internet and wanted to get some donations to help this guy get his car.
Yes, if it's on the schedule.
They got him $350,000. And then what happens? Because it comes out, it's in the paper today. He had to get police protection.
Really?
You know?
I heard about
yeah. Because people want now, where he was living, they want his money. You know? So much for that, folks. We should, you love a good story. That's a true story, all right? Look it up. Number one, I can't believe this. This is our president. There'll be a lot of people sitting there, what are you saying? Well, climate is more dangerous than terrorism. He said it, okay? This really should come under the heading, you got to really be kidding me, okay? It's not just kidding you. You know, all Democrats think, all of us out in the rest of the world, we're really stupid. I mean, how could he say this? Climate change. You know, they insisted, the White House were insisting the dangers posed by climate change are greater for the average American than the threat of terrorism. The White House press secretary, John Ernst, that's a snappy name for a press secretary.
Ernest.
He's Ernest.
Ernest,
you
Ernest.
really, you are?
He's so honest and
We
earnest.
just love you, baby. There are many more people on an annual basis who have to confront the direct impact on their lives of climate change, or the spread of a disease than on terrorism. Yeah. Well, at least you think this was some rogue spokesman, but no, Obama made the same thing, his same comments with a reporter last week. In the White House National Security Plan released last week, the administration also ranked climate change alongside more traditional threats as nuclear proliferation and terrorism. The White House better wake up. Terrorists want to kill us, and they're working every day how to figure out how to hit us again. And why doesn't Obama ask Carla Mueller's parents how dangerous terrorism is? I mean, How freaking stupid. You know, when they blew it in the campaign, the Hillary and the president, what happened in Libya, how far out, where are they?
We're going to cut it off right there.
His weekly dose of good old Grizz sense. Morry the Grizz Taylor doubles as CEO of Titan Tire, the world's largest farm tire manufacturer. Producers of Goodyear and Titan farm tires. Morry wants all you farmers in GrizzNation to listen up. If you need to get into your field and it's all too wet, call 1-800-USA-BEAR or your Deere or Case IH dealer. Titan Tire is bringing new technology to farmers, and Titan's low sidewall technology means no more power hop or road load and less compaction. Say goodbye to the beach balls and same old tires from 20 to 30 years ago. It's time to welcome Goodyear LSW to your fields. Call your dealer or 1-800-USA-BEAR today to find out how you can save money and time this harvest. And tell them the Grizz sent you.
Hi, I'm Mark Andel, owner of the Made in America store. Together, we can help grow our economy and create jobs for Americans by buying products made right here in the United States. Visit MadeInAmericaStore.com, featuring thousands of 100% American-made products from all American materials and labor. They are the highest quality products available. We've inspired a Buy American movement that is creating and saving American jobs every day and keeping our money here instead of sending it overseas. So are you tired of lip service? Let our government know what really matters to the American people. Creating jobs matters. Manufacturing matters. Made in America matters. After 4 years in business and countless jobs created through our 400-plus suppliers, we've built a simple working model to strengthen our economy. It's a proving fact. Made in America matters because China is a long drive to work. Shop online at MadeInAmericaStore.com or connect with us on Facebook.
You're listening to GrizzNation with Morry the Grizz Taylor. Dial 855-98-GRIZZ to join in on Common Sense Talk Radio, coming right at you in 3, 2, and 1.
Well, welcome back, folks. We're going to move to number 5 in the Grizz, but I want to finish one comment on number 4. And that's where climate is more dangerous than terrorism.
Climate change, yes.
The how any person, I don't think any person with even a 60 IQ could screw this one up. So this has got to be just so much intellectualism, and this has got to be just like the professors all sitting in a professor's lounge. Garbage comes out. Number 5, though, it takes a licking. You've all heard me. You ain't going to believe this, folks. You are just not going to believe this one. You've heard me rail against college professors. I just had the college. Well, they have liberal ideas, and this growl will show you exactly what I'm mad about, or talking about. A question you have been wondering about your whole life, folks. You just never knew this. Researchers. That means somebody has to pay. You know who that is? You have paid the money. And this is what I'm going to reveal to you. The New York University and the Florida State University, so at least we got a little spread the money around. Yes, and yes, it took 2 universities to get this right. The report that it takes 1,000 licks to get to the center of a lollipop.
Golly.
That's what you wanted to know, Billy.
I've always wondered about that.
I would figure they really didn't even bring the tongue in. What happens if you had a huge tongue, you know?
Maybe that's an average.
You see Mick Jagger with his tongue?
Yeah.
You know, Mick might only be 500.
Yeah, right.
Well, and in case you're wondering, they also came out they reported more than double 2,500 licks if to get in the center of a chocolate Tootsie Pop. Now, think about that as they ask, every university in America is asking for more money. We need more money. You know, you would wonder why they don't look internally. I tell you what, there's not a university in America I couldn't go in, and there's probably 1,000 people like me, and cut and not touch any important class. But I should sure cut out a lot of the stupidity. And it shouldn't take that long to educate some of these kids. You know, number 6, though. This, again, it's your money. It's tough to be a federal employee. The U.S. Rep. Mark Meadows is cracking down on federal employees. He introduced a bill that would prohibit federal employees from accessing pornographic material or explicit material on government computers and devices. You ask him, what in the hell is a U.S. congressman? Well, Meadows found it's necessary to introduce a bill after the EPA's Inspecting General disclosed that now get this, a senior EPA official was watching porno for 6 hours a day and has downloaded 7,000 pornographic files on his government computer. 4 months later, the $120,000 a year employee is still on the job. Now, it is so ridiculous, folks. You want to know why your government don't work? Because there's nobody in charge. There's nobody. You think these bureaucrats, you know, it's just like all the water I mentioned about California here, went roaring out to the ocean because they're worried about a chub. You know, you fire a few of them, and let me tell you what, they'll start worrying about you. They'll start wanting to know how you can get service better. They'll be starting to worry about you. But you're not going to do it the way it's run. And hey, no disrespect, but I got to blame Republicans too. And we're coming into an election cycle. For gosh sakes, vote for somebody who can do the job. Not whether he can smile at you, not whether you think he's great for Hollywood. You better just get someone tough that knows and done it. Oh, and Hillary, I can't even believe Democrats talk about her. Well, I know the news media. They don't understand nothing anyhow. But what has she ever done? Okay? Figure that one out. All right? Now, this employee, back to the poor congressman, I don't think, he needs a new law. Obama likes to get out his pen and take action. Why doesn't Obama get out his pen and make it illegal for federal employees to download porn and fire that EPA employee? That's executive.
That sounds like an executive action, yeah.
That's what we would do. I'd do the damn thing right there. Now, is it okay? This last one here before we get to all these tweets that we got here. It's okay to growl real early. I felt better. It feels better to get this stuff off my chest because I know in Youngstown National Park, our Youngstown Rangers have warned the tourists, be on the lookout for sleepy grizzly bears. I really don't know if you got to worry about sleepy grizzly bears because if they're sleepy, they're going to be asleep.
Not sleeping, sleepy.
And I haven't been to New Orleans. The Grizzlies, because the winter, our climate change, they're getting up from hibernation. About a month early this year is what they stated, because of warmer than normal temperatures, rain instead of snow, and so they confirmed the first sighting. And the Rangers warn the tourists because grizzlies, are especially hungry when they wake up from hibernation. And as I say, never too early to growl, but bears are bad dudes, folks. Take heat. And then when it was one of the things I did on my 60th birthday. My wife agreed, and we went to Yellowstone. And let me tell you something, folks. I was real disappointed. We took a national treasure, and it was the Clintons with environmentalists who wanted to let the fires burn. Well, if you want to know the difference, go up to the Canadian Rockies. They take the brush out. They don't let the fires go. And it's awesome. Because you see, when you have a fire through the woods, you just lost 50 to 75 years. So the kids are just born, they don't get to see it. Think about that. You don't want to, and all these people who want to go backwards, that's what I call sailors that just love to go out and sail a boat.
Well,
I prefer engines. I want to go. So anyhow.
In the course of that, we've had a number of tweets coming in. One quick one. One fellow says that it only takes him 3 licks to get to the bottom of the lollipop. So that's one hell of a tongue there. But Leonard is on Twitter, and his question, I guess, is how are labor organizations not guilty of violating Taft-Hartley or price fixing?
Well, they are, but you see, it's just like, whether it's the attorney general or whoever, they choose who they want to prosecute. So why would you prosecute the people that give you your money? Democrats aren't going to, and they're going to scream holy hell if the poor Republicans do it. And a lot of the Republicans, they don't want the hassle. Look what happened at, Scott Walker. They tried to recall him and defeat him. And what did he do? He made it fair for his citizens. He basically did not say unions were outlawed. He just said the people have the right. And that's what Snyder did in Michigan. You can either join or you don't, reference to public employees. Now, here's something people don't understand. The dues, never do the unions let the membership vote on the dues. They're not dumb enough to do that because the members will not vote for increases. Number 2, the money never stays at the local. It goes to the international. Now, and they say they're Democratic? Here, they're Democratic like our Congress is. You elect them, you elect your guy. They go to the meeting, they're sitting there in awe, and they're told what to do. That's the same thing happens with Congress.
Okay, we've got Dale on Twitter saying, a democratic nation, this is kind of a grim analysis, a democratic nation run by communists with voters uneducated on the issues and candidates flooded with debt and immigrants, not much hope for the future at the moment. Would you agree with that?
Well, he kind of, in one big way, summed it up, but he forgot, I've been listening to the press too much, and, and of course our president, there's nothing extraordinary about us, but you talk to the Germans, you talk to the boys in Japan, we've done an awful lot of great things that nobody thought. And I think it's a true statement that we're also the only ones that sent people up to the moon and brought them back. There's many things we can do.
We got just a couple of
seconds. A lot of things are out there, but I'm not that grim. And last night I was out, I see all these young people. God, they're smart. They're all tech-y. What they don't have is experience, and they're going to make mistakes. You got to learn by your mistakes, folks.
So there's hope for the future yet.
Oh, there's always hope.
All right, I thought so. Give us a call, 855-984-7499. Please, we want to hear from you, 855-984-7499 for Morry Taylor, the Grizz.
Hi, I'm Mark Andel, owner of the Made in America store. Together, we can help grow our economy and create jobs for Americans by buying products made right here in the United States. Visit MadeInAmericaStore.com, featuring thousands of 100% American-made products from all American materials and labor. They are the highest quality products available. We've inspired a Buy American movement that is creating and saving American jobs every day and keeping our money here instead of sending it overseas. So are you tired of lip service? Let our government know what really matters to the American people. Creating jobs matters. Manufacturing matters. Made in America matters. After 4 years in business and countless jobs created through our 400-plus suppliers, we've built a simple working model to strengthen our economy. It's a proving fact. Made in America matters because China is a long drive to work. Shop online at MadeInAmericaStore.com or connect with us on Facebook.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Ovaltine. Give your kids the nutrition they need to be their best. Visit us at OvaltineUSA.com. Telling your child about healthy food choices is important, but showing her what to eat goes a lot further. Have her help create the grocery list, then bring her to the store with you. Picking out healthy foods together helps kids get in the habit of thinking about what they're eating every day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Tired of worrying about potentially toxic spills around your home, office, or garage? Now there's a quick, inexpensive way to clean up any oil-related spill. EPA-approved Oil Out Plus contains no noxious fumes or annoying scents. It's odor-free, lightweight, and easy to handle. In fact, Oil Out Plus is scientifically formulated to bond with spills on a molecular level. Cleaning up spills has never been easier. Visit Oil Out Plus to learn more. Oil Out Plus, cleaning up our planet one spill at a time.
Welcome back to GrizzNation. No Bull Talk Radio with Morry, the Grizz Taylor. Dial 855-98-GRIZZ to join in. Stand by for the Grizz.
Welcome back again to the Morry Taylor, the GrizzNation. That's 855-984-7499 for you to be part of the action on the phone. We are getting quite a few internet and Twitter comments. John on Twitter says that I think Obama's full of it and shares this picture.
It's really good, folks.
I think that pretty well. That says it all, doesn't it? I mean,
it says it all. But the best thing about the picture is you know how he's really worried about climate change and everything. You know that we have in the north we have less and less population of polar bears. Well, that's all BS. We have more polar bears now. And they don't even understand polar bears swim out. You know, Al Gore didn't when he showed it in his great movie. But it is a little ironic that the picture is a polar bear. And you can see it from there. On a more heavier little note, I think all of our hearts go out to the family of Carla Mueller, the American aid worker who was killed by ISA. But everybody in America should also understand something. Remember how our president told us that elect him, he'd have the most open transparency ever? Well, now it seems the White House has been covering up details of her death, but some information has leaked out. It appears the Obama administration received information from British intelligence. They had a positive identification and the location of the American and British hostages. Obama officials waited nearly a month, some claim even longer, to launch the rescue mission which came up empty-handed because the hostages were moved. What has happened, folks, is there's a reason a lot of this stuff is happening. And you do not have to turn around and, get a bunch of professors in universities to sit and look at this when we have a president who just cannot call these terrorists Islamic, fanatical, wacko terrorists and they do it in Allah, which is God. But if you think about it, it's very simple to understand. The president's father was Muslim from Africa. His stepfather was Muslim from Indonesia. And I don't care what talking heads or anything, when you're young, no matter what, it's your father, it's also the other people. You turn around and you have opinions that are generated. And he just believes that, in my opinion, that he shouldn't say any of it, which, that's his choice. But anyhow,
he considers himself a citizen of the world, it seems, more than an American.
Yeah, citizens of the world. And I think when he went on his crusade to apologize to the world, and I'm telling everybody out there and all you Democrats, think about it. So I don't think he wants to see, as Ronald Reagan said, the shining lights on the hill or the greatest lies ahead for us. And he's just stated out here in California, he's going to do what he can for the next 10 years. Next 2 years, so nobody can change it for 10 more years. I sure the hell don't want to see this country go like Europe, all the rest of it. So everybody better wake up. And here's my prediction. Last week we talked about Brian Williams, if you remember, the NBC anchor that, could not weather the storm over the lies he told about being shot riding in a helicopter. Well, NBC announced this week that they were suspending him for 6 months without pay as they conduct an investigation. I think that's a joke, folks. Here's another prediction from the Grizz. I don't think he'll ever be behind the anchor desk. He's done. He'll hang around, but that's the last time he'll anchor the news. They don't want to say it because they're all a little on the left side. In fact, here's something everybody should be ticked off about, and you should go after Comcast because Comcast owns NBC. Did you see the news clip of the reporter for NBC pays him, he came from Algiers, claiming that Kyle, the American sniper, he was a racist, and he was just on a killing spree while he was in Iraq. Well, screw him, okay? That's my answer. Screw him. And if he worked for me, I'd fire the sucker, and I wouldn't be waiting. But you know what? You have umpteen generals, military people sent letters to Comcast. They haven't gotten an answer. That's why they went public. That's another thing. Call up. You can call the president to pay the Keystone Pipeline. I'm moving on you now. But I want to give you this number because I forgot to. It's area code 202-456-1111. 4 ones, folks. Read it. 202-456 and 4 ones. Tell Obama Let's just flood his doggone phone. Keep it flooded. Call him as many times as you can.
Actually, that's for the Hill.
24.
That's for the Hill.
The Hill?
That's for the congressmen and senators. Yeah.
Oh, well, at least I put a little backbone on them. But, well, good. If it's to the Hill, then let's not only say that, tell the Keystone, you tell them, don't approve.
No, my mistake. It was to Obama. That is to the White House.
It is to the White House. Now, hopefully, before we go, we'll give you the one to Congress. And you tell them, put heat on and don't approve Comcast deal. By God, I bet you we'll get that apology.
Yeah, we had a couple of tweets in reference to your Brian Williams comments that, like Brian Williams, Hillary Clinton lied about dodging a sniper fire when she was in Bosnia, and instead had a little girl giving her a flower at that time. You know?
Well, yeah, but she's not on our payroll. Okay, and she's not on the TV. If you just thought that's the first time she lied, remember when she saw the 60 Minutes program when Bill was just starting out running for president, and they brought up the Jennifer Flower and how that was all a lie, and she would never. What was it, Tammy White that sang the song? Stand by your man?
Right.
Well, she would not, if her husband ever did that, if it was true with Jennifer, she would not stand by her man. Not that. She wasn't like that. History's been written, folks. Totally written, all right? You know, she makes, you know how Obama said the ISA boys were just the JV? When you want to talk liberal and you want to talk can't do something, she would make Obama like the JVs. Think about it.
Worse.
And truthfully, it's better to look at him than her. You know. And now, well, one other thing, I get back to this NBC.
Yeah.
You know, before NBC gets too full of themselves about how they did this, you know, another thing, tell that Comcast, because Comcast are the real owners, and until you start putting NBC to Comcast and shooting those guys at the top, remember, Al Sharpton, remember him? Are great, as the president said. You know, I thought it was such an insult to our fellow citizens that have a better tan than I got, that he is the great leader of that community. That's terrible. He owes over $4.5 million in tax liens and against him and his front groups. Remember Chuck Berry, Pete Rose, even the real queen bitch, Leona Hemsley, they went to jail. They went to jail for less money than Sharpton. And he also falsely accused a New York State prosecutor of being part of a gang rape. You know, truthfully, Brian, you had the trust. You got too full of yourself. You've been getting paid, what, $10 million or so? You should have enough million. Take your bribe. Find something else to do. And move on. And you guys at Comcast, you better get with it. You quit throwing all this muck up, or otherwise maybe everybody should just go to AT&T and DirecTV. You got that choice, folks.
Well, it's not just NBC. I mean, you got that kind of attitude amongst many of them, but they seem to be the most egregious about it.
Oh, I just tell you. Well, you got ABC is Walt Disney, which is really hard to fathom that they don't take a bigger activity there, and you know, you got CBS, and you know that's Sumter Redstone, and you know he's got more webs woven into that, but. Time will tell. We got any more tweeters there, or do we?
No, that's it for the moment. We're getting ready to take our final break. of this week's edition of GrizzNation, but we will be back for a few more minutes after this, and we do want to hear your phone calls. We've enjoyed your tweets and your internet questions, but get on the phone. We don't care if you agree with Morry or not. In fact, if you don't, we'd like to see somebody that doesn't agree with Morry on the phone this last segment. 855-984-7499. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
We'll see you in a minute.
Hi, I'm Mark Andel, owner of the Made in America store. Together, we can help grow our economy and create jobs for Americans by buying products made right here in the United States. Visit MadeInAmericaStore.com, featuring thousands of 100% American-made products from all American materials and labor. They are the highest quality products available. We've inspired a Buy American movement that is creating and saving American jobs every day and keeping our money here instead of sending it overseas. So are you tired of lip service? Let our government know what really matters to the American people. Creating jobs matters. Manufacturing matters. Made in America matters. After 4 years in business and countless jobs created through our 400-plus suppliers, we've built a simple working model to strengthen our economy. It's a proving fact. Made in America matters because China is a long drive to work. Shop online at MadeInAmericaStore.com or connect with us on Facebook.
In addition to offering up his weekly dose of good old Grizz sense, Morry the Grizz Taylor doubles as CEO of Titan Tire, the world's largest farm tire manufacturer, producers of Goodyear and Titan farm tires. Morry wants all you farmers in GrizzNation to listen up. If you need to get into your field and it's all too wet, call 1-800-USA-BEAR or your Deere or Case IH dealer. Titan Tire is bringing new technology to farmers, and Titan's low sidewall technology means no more power hop or road load and less compaction. Say goodbye to the beach balls and same old tires from 20 to 30 years ago. It's time to welcome Goodyear LSW to your fields. Call your dealer or 1-800-USA-BEAR today to find out how you can save money and time this harvest. And tell them the Grizz sent you.
If you work in Washington, you better duck. Dial 855-98-GRIZZ to join GrizzNation. And we're back with Morry Taylor, the Grizz.
We are back. We just made it in. Oh, we knocked our Mr. What does he have a name, by the way?
Yeah, Grizz.
Oh, Grizz. Okay.
That's the real Grizz.
The real Grizz. All right. We just got through talking about some of the immigration issues. Again, that seems to keep coming up again and again and again. And there's more news now. We talked about this a little bit last week on the how the IRS has now said that they can get some of their tax. They get money back from the government for when they live here illegally.
It's crazy when you turn around and you're going to have the IRS going out to find the new amnesty illegals to give them money. I mean, it's crazy, folks.
Let's say that they get now up to this came out today, $24,000. They can be up to $24,000 for living here illegally.
It's so stupid, and you know everybody knows what happened with the housing. So the new guy that the president put in to run the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They're pushing now. What do you think, folks? No money down. We're going to sell you a house. We're going to put a mortgage on it. Now, who's doing this? The banks have been trying to fight it. The little old munchins are back in the door again. It's so stupid. But, hey, I mean, government's running wild. And it just goes to show, as we've talked about before, you can't just keep sending people into government that have no idea. They don't have a friggin' idea. Here, let's start. One thing about the pipeline, I gave you the number to call to tell them to sign it. Here's one other point for you. To put the oil through the pipeline is $5 cheaper than sending it by rail. Now, we all know Warren Buffett's got a lot of money already, and we don't need more coming from the railroad. You have to ask yourself, is this another little side deal? But there also is a problem, which affects my business, is that farmers can't get their grain out to ports. Because why? The choo-choo trains are pulling all this oil. Put the pipeline in. Let's get smart. Cause the jobs. But remember, $5 a barrel. So if you can transport it cheaper, the price won't be as high.
Yeah.
So it's not a complicated, when you hear, I like to tell, I was with a bunch of doctors last night, because I'm out here for a wedding, a doctor's friend, son got married. And it just, I think it's crazy when you go and see these universities, professors and all this, they get a paid year off every so many years to replenish themselves. I was talking to a neurosurgeon. In fact, Ben Carson used to be a neurosurgeon for little kids.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He didn't get a year off for pay. Let's think about it. How dumb. This was when they didn't make any money. Now that's in stone, But
you touched on something more. We've got when you touched on some of the housing situation, and it seems like we've got an internet question from Lewis from Omaha. Are you afraid we're going back to the bad old days that led to the collapse? It seems like some of this stuff with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mae. And the second question is, after what we've been through, why are Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac still in business?
Well, first thing, you got to go back a little farther, my friend. You got to go back to when Clinton had it, and they appointed his appointees to run it, and they were walking out with basically tens of millions of dollars in bonuses, for their leading this great organization. And then you got to also thank Barney Franks and Christopher Dodd. Now, do you notice that the Frank Dodd bill, this Elizabeth Warren, she's wackier than anybody. But how they want to claim this great bill? They're the folks who sunk the ship, folks. They're the ones that threw this crap all together so that, tie all the hands. Get the hell out of it, okay? You want to trace all this problem? You trace it all back to Bill and Hillary. That's right. You want to chase everything? I'll trace it back to them. The big thing you have to understand is what really hurt is when they turned around and they wanted our big banks to get big, because European banks, the banks in Hong Kong were big, Japanese banks were real big. We got to bring our banks, and to be able to be in the investment banking business. And that's really what brought this crisis on, with the government then telling them, here, you got to do all this, you got to loan all this money.
It seems to be a misconception amongst many people that this was all some sort of manipulation by Wall Street. And there was some manipulation by Wall Street going on, but wasn't this all from sort of a misguided notion that, it's great for home ownership, it's a great goal to have, but that's not the way the real world works all the time. And,
no, because first thing is this. You have to understand, this was not what Wall Street wanted. This was, you can say your big banks, They wanted it because you see your Goldman Sachs, your Morgan Stanley, all of these other investment banks, all of them, they were partnerships. You would become a partner, and then you would get bought out for so much. And it was that what happened is you ended up with the big banks getting in and changing the rules so they could buy these companies. So then what happened, it's looked like Corzine out of New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
They went public. My God, folks, he went public. His stock that he had in Goldman, when he went public, made him basically $500 million. It's just too bad the people in New Jersey elected him governor. Well, they elected him senator, then they elected him governor. And then when they finally, Christie threw his fanny out, he went over into ML Global, and it bankrupted them. I mean, you got to look at all these things that happen. It's nuts.
Well, I think it's also funny that, Wall Street, the big boys in Wall Street are largely one of the biggest financiers of the Democratic Party these days.
Oh, always have been, always will. Why? They make money. Where do you think, folks? Listen, 20 years ago, when I screwed around in the politics, and hey, I'm not a politician. I just decided to go. I had a little bit of cash. I took my kids' inheritance, and I spent it. I knew I was going to get my brains beat in. And what happens, I loved it. I had a great time. But I had to sell stock. I sold stock, and I paid 30% to the feds. Yeah, 30%. Now, why do you think you have all these billionaires, hedge fund guys? Because what they do, they get in private equity, that's when private equity started, they get to loan the money, they don't take interest for a year, they delay it, and then that interest they get, they only pay 15%. It's called carried interest. Same as a dividend. And that's what they get. So, Warren Buffett don't pay as much as his secretary. No lie, it's dividend, 15%. And once you do all of this, think about how, if you were able to run through and only pay 15%, and by the way, because of the way it's structured, there's no Social Security tax on it. They just made it for now you have to pay your Medicaid on it. But that's how you make the money, folks, So, and who helped them do that? The Democrats, okay? Always have. I mean, it's the biggest fallacy you ever see. And but they do get more money. The big money comes from the union. Why do you think your government's unionized? Why do you think the state's unionized? The county, the cities, all of them. They got all unionized from the Democrats. They cut the deal.
Well, Morry, we're almost out of time, but I did want to touch on, one thing I always tell people is amazing. It's hard to understand how much of a man on the go you are, and that's reflected in where we've been on this show. We've done it from Detroit, from Florida, now San Francisco. Next week you're going to be in Canada. You guys got a minute or two. It's kind of an interesting story. Why are you going to be in Canada next week?
We're going to Canada next week, do it out of Quebec City. And the reason is my grandson plays for the Little Pee Wee League, sponsored by the Hurricanes, which is a professional team, hockey, out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And I called them up yesterday. I can hear my daughter screaming. My son-in-law is just going wild. They were leading 3-1. And the little tyke, he's the defenseman. He got a pass, skated it down, and then whipped it over, and the kid scored the goal. So he got an assist. They mentioned it in French.
Oh.
Unique
That's fun.
riddle. And so I called back later. They were leading 3-1, and they won 4-3.
Ah, okay.
See,
There we go. Well, that'll be fun.
It'll
Next
be
week,
fun. And it is cold.
Same
It is
time.
cold.
Same time, 3 to 5 Eastern. You'll find GrizzNation coming to you live from Quebec City, Canada. We've enjoyed it today. Thanks a million.
Thank all of you. Have a great week. Bye-bye.